Yeah, well, you'd have to say in the club's journey it was always going to be a tough ask, but it was the step you have to take. It's you lived in your home, you lived in your castle, and you're going to go out and adventure and see the land. You've got to take that first step, and I think in most journeys the first one's always the toughest.
I'm sure you hoped for better tonight, Guy, but did you expect better?
Yeah, probably expected better, but you got to weigh that up. I mean, you know, even the leaders themselves, the mature players got swarmed at times, and largely due to Carlton's pressure. I think I looked at half time. I think we had more handballs than kicks, and I think that was mainly because of the pressure Carlton put on. Let's not forget, I mean, they were playing for Juddy's 200th too. So yeah, but you know, a lot of jittery possession, a lot of one-handed stuff, a lot of handball, just very basic stuff. And you'd think, well, geez, it's almost like we're looking at the under-18s for Gold Coast Suns out there. And I think it's just the pressure and again the nerves of round two. For our first game, we had to get out of the way, and as I said, I don't think there was anyone on our list that played out there tonight. Even this bloke alongside me was fumbled, but you almost had to expect it. I mean, he hasn't had a pre-season. Some of the other boys have had pre-seasons too, but not at this level. I mean, it's different playing the NAB Cup compared to round two, that's for sure.
Well, did you put much down to how big the build-up and hype was coming into the match?
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, does that equate to 5 or 6 goals? I don't know, Nick, but it's certainly, you know, as I said, it was massive for these young blokes. But that's good. You know, I want to do it around two. I mean, if we make a final this year, at least we know we've been through this. We might do it differently, who knows? But at least they've been through it. That's a good thing. It's the experience. And, you know, like some of the boys like Seb Tate, for example, I mean, he said to us at half time, I'm sorry, Blue, everything I do is not working out. But, mate, you get your hands on it. I mean, it's very hard to coach blokes to get their hands on it, and he started to get his hands on it. Yes, he made mistakes, but when you start making mistakes, you can start coaching the boys through that. So, you know, that was a positive. And Zach Smith, again, didn't play a pre-season game, started clunking a few down forward, and his jumping in the ruck was fantastic. You know, Charlie Dixon, again, we spend a lot of time with Charlie, and we're going to spend a lot of time over his career at this football club, seeing him, you know, take early in the season take 3 out of 15 catches, and then halfway through the season he's going to start taking 8 and 9 marks that he should take, and that's slowly going to get better, and then all of a sudden individually we improve and then collectively we improve.
Brad's wondered in the last presser how the emotion at the moment got to the players. How did you see it before the game?
I asked Gads actually. I mean, he was more around the boys, but yeah, I thought they looked fairly...
Yeah, the boys seemed pretty relaxed before the game. You know, as Bluey said, I mean, we had so many guys playing their first game, and they're definitely going to get a lot out of that. You know, talking to a few of the boys in the rooms after the game, you know, they said that it was definitely a big step up from pre-season games. So, you know, we'll sit down and review the game during the week and go through some areas that we need to fix up. There's definitely plenty of them, and we'll make sure that we come out and fix a few of those areas up next week. But I think the more games we can get into these guys, the better. So.
Fred also said that he expected you to bounce back straight away. I mean, what are your expectations here? Obviously, looking at this result, there's heaps to improve on. You expecting to just bounce straight back?
Yeah, my short time up here with the boys, I mean, mind you, it's my first year of coaching Gary, but I mean, it's the expectation of the leaders and our senior players. But the kids I've coached over the last 2 years, they're fairly strong with character, and I think that's what's impressed some of these senior fellas. So I'm sure they're going to bounce back. I mean, they would have been hurt by some of their mistakes they made tonight, but I don't see it through lack of work rate or intensity. That was the main thing. I mean, they kept working, and yeah, they made mistakes, but you've got to start that journey with the first step.
Well, you made a lot of changes, obviously, last year, week to week. Do you think that'll happen again this year and looking ahead to next week? Yeah,
well, looking at you know, Dion Prestia, you know, Josh Toy is 48%, Dion Prestia at 76%. You know, Nathan Cracker at 36%. Most, I think, all but those blokes that get subbed, they end up playing over 70% of the game time now. So, speaking to other coaches, there's some very sorry boys throughout the course of the week. So it is what it is. But yeah, we'll certainly make some changes, I'm sure, for next week. But yeah, hopefully we can settle the side down as quick as we can. But yeah, some of these boys will cook, we know, and we just got to rotate them in with some other boys that are ready to stand up and play at least 70 to 75% game time.
Guys, is it a sense of relief now that the first game is now over?
Yeah, it is. I reckon it is, because you know, for all these boys, you know, it's been such a long time coming, and now they can actually get into the groove, and it's going to be another nasty shock for them next week to come up against the Doggies. But to have 5 or 6 weeks, or 5 or 6 days to get ready for that, it is going to be a shock to the system. But that's the system they have to do, and there's no other way to go around it. We're not coming in as a 17th side to have a week on and a week off or anything like that. And it's great, a great experience for them, you know. And as I said, it was look bad on the scoreboard. But throughout the course of the game, there's some exciting parts of the game where the boys are actually able to play our style of football and look good. And we just know over in time that's going to get better and better and better. I was at Collingwood, 7 years ago. Mind you, I took them from 13th to 15th, and seen how they've turned that around. And now, arguably, they're two of the best. They're every chance of winning it this year. Well, they won it last year. But if you asked me that 7 years ago, you think, geez, we're a mile off this. I'm not saying we're a mile off it, but again, we got to start the journey like Collingwood did, as I said, 7 years ago when I was there. We have to start the journey now. This is the day, our round 2, our first game, and then the next step is taken next week.
Gary,
Calm off tonight. Do you think he went?
Yeah, we have I'll be honest, we have a very simple formula after the game, whether the boys were satisfactory or want to say unsatisfactory. We don't think they performed above, and spoke to Solly, and I thought maybe, but I think the votes went against him, so he wasn't satisfactory. But there were some other sort of senior players that weren't satisfactory as well, so he was no orphan. And I think when the result, like it was on the scoreboard, was every chance that a defender may not have been as good as they'd like to have been. So, but I thought in the moment when he was there, he looked okay. I mean, he certainly wasn't our worst player, that's for sure.
How's his mood after the game? Is upbeat?
I haven't had a chance to see the players as much, so
most of the guys are pretty positive. I mean, obviously, you know, the guys are disappointed with the way the night panned out, but you know, as Bluey said before, they're pretty mature guys, and they'll move on from it pretty quickly, and look forward to next week, I reckon. So.
Gaz, given your pre-season, mate, obviously was it good to get a hit out under your belt? Do you feel like you sort of got better as the game went on?
Yeah, it was. It was hard at the start of the game. It was. Wasn't quite up to the pace at the start, but it was good to get out there and you know, have a run around and get out there with the boys and help them out as much as I can. But you know, obviously it showed tonight. We've still got a fair bit to learn, and you know, as I said before, we'll review the game this week and make sure we fix up, you know, a few areas. So.
How did you find the captaincy? Did you find the first hit out as a captain?
Yeah, I was fine with it. You know, I got out there and said a few things to the boys before the game, but as I've said many times, you know, you're not going to be a successful side unless you've got 22 leaders out there. You know, so we're really working hard to help these younger guys mature into leaders, and you know, some of these younger guys really impressed me tonight out there with their leadership. Still got a lot to learn, but more games will get in them, the better they're going to be.
And that's the thing, if I can say, you know, with Gaz, I mean, 95% game time out of, you know, as I said, no pre-season, probably only about 3 weeks' work, I reckon. But for those like for Gary, for Bocky, for Campbell Brown even, I mean, they're going to have some kids just spinning their wheels alongside them. I mean, for them to be expected to play like Gaz did at Geelong, you know, Bocky and Adelaide, I mean, they just don't have that consistency around them as young kids, so we can't expect them, you know, to be superstars for us from day one. Probably if they'd played 3 or 4 games of the pre-season and actually got used to these boys, but I mean, he's playing tonight, first time he's actually gone out to battle with David Swallow alongside him. So David's looking at Gaz, and Gaz is looking at David saying, what do you want from me? Do you want to block? Do you want to smother? Do you want to shepherd? Do you want to kick? Handball. So we have to go through that. Unfortunately, because of pre-seasons with some of these boys, we have to do it in season. So it's not ideal, but as I said, let's not expect too much of certainly our young kids, but certainly our leaders as well.
Gary played some pretty big games before. Especially for you, was it exciting? Was it, you know, especially tonight, was it fun for you? Was it nerves?
I wouldn't say nervous. It was definitely exciting. It was obviously a big occasion for the club. You know, it'd been kind of 2 or 3 years in the making, so you know, it was a big occasion for the club. But you know, it was disappointing to lose by as much as we did. But you know, as we said, we're going to move on from it pretty quickly. Look to next week and fix up the areas we need to. As I said, the guys have been pretty positive in the room, so.
Yeah, no, he's had an interrupted pre-season too, so I must say it was certainly going to be a defender that was going to be subbed off because we used Josh. We probably had Seb Tape in the gun, but his competitiveness, his ability to keep sort of driving and pushing himself, so we're able to leave him on, and obviously cracked. As I said, he hasn't had a great pre-season. He had surgery pre-Christmas, and yeah, he's running a bit rough at the moment, Crack. So yeah, he was the logical one to come off.
Thanks, guys. Thanks very much.
Thank you.